So I admit a bit of time has passed. We are now at the end of June and I'm at my friend Aiden's, who is our magical mechanic looking after the Alpina. Slip the camera around. There he is.
Hello.
Hello, Aiden. Has this been causing you too much trouble?
Oh, not too much. Let's just get this open.
Let's have a look. Now, you are a Mercedes man.
I am.
Judging by your yard. Some pretty awesome bits. But you're looking after the dark side.
Oh, I'm risking my reputation.
The car was overheating, and it had overheated a few times, even when I had it, just as we were testing the engine. But it was just spewing out normal blue smoke, just oil smoke. When we did compression tests and we did a bore scope, it was just like drips of oil in the cylinder, which was quite weird. So there's no sign of coolant contaminating with oil or oil contaminating with coolant whatsoever. No,
coolant was beautifully clear. Oil from the dipstick perspective and from the perspective
There's the dipstick.
Oh yes, the dipstick that's hanging up amongst all my random stuff. But the one thing I was curious about is if we could find any signs that leaking had occurred between the coolant and the oil ways, because on the gaskets, go back to our little gasket again, usually you find that the coolant ways, which are really actually quite small on these, those are the ones closest to your cylinder. And usually what happens is but they're also, relative to the cylinder, the closest to the oil ways. So usually what tends to happen is you find that you'll get coolant in your oil and oil in your coolant. And that's usually a pretty good indicator that head gasket's gone. However, probably one of the most prevalent signs, which isn't on this engine,
sort of like milky residue, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the big telltale sign that it's absolutely far gone. So what's that little white thing?
That there, which I think you can see. Yeah, you can see. That's good. That is milky oil.
That's this little bit here at the top.
Little disgusting thing here.
That is the milk we're trying to avoid.
So and a tiny bit more there, but ultimately there is so little of it you would very easily miss it. And if I wiped all that up before, which I usually would, before I take the head off, there pretty much wouldn't be any sign that we've had coolant in the oil. The camshaft lobes are pretty good, so you haven't got great big score marks on them, which I know some people would go, you shouldn't get them. We certainly shouldn't get them, but some people still manage to.
They're very shiny, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the wear pattern where they've been, where the centre has been contacting the hydraulic tappet. Yeah, I mean, we got a bit of varnish, which is, I'm afraid, indicative of probably not enough oil changes, but that said, or sometimes very high engine temperature does that, because the varnish effectively boils out the oil is the wrong way to put it. Sort of bit like when you cook a really, really hot roast or something like that, you end up with a
bit of residue. Yeah,
you get that residue. It burns to the pans. You can't get it off. When you really compare this to, I mean, that's about as far as you get. And don't get me wrong, this is not probably the best thing in the world, but again,
not the end of the world.
No.
To be cleaned up. And then, so the head gasket is still just about gasketing, but it's starting to leak some bits in. So we are literally on the cusp of it completely failing.
Yeah, I would say that you're at the point now whereby I would certainly tell you to stop driving it.
Well, I mean, I think given its condition and little bits of rust around, I think it. Oh, have we seen the interior? We haven't seen the interior in a while. And the fact that it's literally got...
Well, there is one, but there isn't much of one.
Well, it's all kind of just in the boot, really, isn't it, at the moment? That is good. I suppose the next time we'll see it, hopefully it'll be running.
Oh,
hopefully.
I'm pretty sure about that. Don't worry about that. The only other thing I hate to reveal to you is probably the clutch needs doing. The
clutch does need doing. If you're up for doing the clutch, I don't mind adding that to the list.
Right. First of all, let's get the engine running. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's no point even having a gearbox attached if the engine doesn't run. No. You may as well put roller skates on it. You'd be better off.
Absolutely.
So, first things first. Head off. Well, timing chain loose, cams shafts out, etc. Head off. Evaluate the situation. Quite frankly, because I've seen the coolant and oil emulsion, I feel a lot happier that we're not missing an enormous amount of coolant going somewhere, or some other known standard leak that we would expect, just not where we usually expect it.
Hello. So I admit some time has passed. The filming of that video took place at the beginning of June, and then we filmed the second half of this video, which you're about to watch, at the beginning of August. And I'm filming this part at the middle of August, which is the same time I hope to have this video live by, and it just so happens that I'm wearing the same shirt throughout all three of the clips. Completely by coincidence. I did not think about continuity whatsoever. Anyway, I digress. I think just one bit to mention is the fact that with these sorts of projects, timelines just go out the window. You have to rely on people, but just bear in mind that these things are so specific, and these people, of course, work full-time jobs at the same time, so trying to get them to work on this car full-time is really difficult. Plus, the fact that I've had to wait for a welder for a long time. I've picked somebody very, very specific that I know, and I also hope that they're going to do a fantastic job, and naturally, they can't stop working on my car until they finish their projects. So the timing does work out, because when we go visit Aidan for the second time, check out the head being taken off and all the atrocities that lie beneath, will be just 2 weeks away from, or actually about 3 weeks away from the day that we drop the car off, in theory, to the welder. I don't know why I just did that. Fingers crossed. So we'll join back the action now in early August, where we visit Aidan, accompanied by my friend Thanos, who drove us up to Aidan's house in his lovely TDV6 Jaguar S-Type. That, I'm sure, will be a different video for another day, where we take the head off and explore the secrets that lie underneath. So, are you ready? Are you strapped in? Are you still awake? Good. Let's crack on. Hello, this is in the future now from the last video, and I'm hoping the last video came well, because I've got a feeling I've lost all the footage, but if you're seeing this, it means I may not have lost all the footage. But we're back in Aidan's house. Say hello, Aidan.
Hello.
There you go. We've got one mic that I'm going to try to equitably share with everyone. And since we last saw you, Aidan, because you just had the head off, no, you had the rockers off to start off with.
Cam cover.
The cam cover, that's the word for it.
Cam cover intake, all of the injection system, and I've got a feeling we had the exhaust manifold off as well.
And we saw a bit of milk, I think, on the cam cover, didn't we? So now we have the head.
We have the head.
We can see pistons.
We also have a set of head bolts, which
we
are
have bolts
out in the same order that they went in.
And they do tell a story.
They do indeed. So we
Another
have
story.
Rusty, oily mess that seems to have come, I believe, from this waterway here being plugged up, and under steam pressure, something along those lines, forced its way through to this bolt hole. And so what we've ended up with is we've ended up with a head bolt that's got a mixture of oil, rust, bit of everything on it, quite frankly. And then if we move to the other side, we get a bit more of a picture of the oil problem that we were really worrying about, which is that we've got this sort of carbonized burnt oil on the threads, where it's continually had pressurized oil, or at very least a very large supply of oil, continually making its way into the bolt hole. I don't believe that the oil that we're seeing here is actually the oil that we've seen dripping down. I think that's partially residue from above that's come down when we've taken the bolts out. I believe what has happened is either this check valve has become plugged, but it does seem to be moving freely, or it could just be that the gasket's failed, and the restriction there, which is forcing oil across here and into this bolt hole here.
Because this is the head gasket. This is the thing that we've all wanted to see. Yeah. That we think has failed and is leaking a bit of oil into the pistons, causing it to misfire and run.
Start, I think about there is quite nice, because you can get underneath it very slightly.
Yep.
So you want to go underneath there, and you want to very gently peel around until you get basically a corner. And you just, that's it, and then move along. Because what we're trying to avoid is touching the... That's it, perfect. Actually, if you grab it there, because it's slightly more stable, that's it.
There you go.
There we go. And you have one complete gasket, which if you really feel the need, like me...
I could hang it on my wall.
I've still got my 300D original gasket, if it makes you feel better. Bit of a wipe
great.
down. Now,
It's a boy.
put the
It's a boy.
so put it here for the moment. Remove the phone.
Remove.
That's it, right? Because this is the opposing side. That's where we had the little problem with the coolant way. There, where it sort of burnt up and left debris behind. This is interesting. I know some of it's moved around because we've removed the head gasket, but you can see we've got sort of a wetness to the gasket around there. So we've got some oil moving about there, which is...
So this should be dry.
You would expect
this
so.
section here should all be dry, right?
You would expect so.
That's soaking wet.
But it's not. So I think we might have had a minor amount of delamination, maybe not in the centre there. I think that's just flowed, but possibly around here.
Yeah,
That is water leaking.
that's milk. That's dried baby formula.
That is, but what that is aluminium oxide.
And look at this here, the little break.
So if we left that behind,
Oh yeah, we have
that's okay. But that's still not good because you'd expect it to all come off in one. But so we've had some water leakage into here, which hasn't gone anywhere. But this is that's not a problem. That's water, oil, those things. They aren't under an immense amount of pressure. We're talking about 2, 3, 4, 6 bar. 2 well-mated surfaces with a gasket in between should easily be able to take that. So the next thing I do after cleaning it down properly is all the valves out, take the surface back with extremely fine either Mercer cloth, 3M, whatever you want to call it, Scotch-Brite, and past that, that's when we check it for flatness, because you've removed all the bits that, are preventing it from showing a true reading for being flat. And once we've done that, resurface it. If assuming it doesn't need machining or anything, it's just a case of making sure that the mating surfaces are have a good enough finish that the new gasket will adhere to it nicely, and when it all goes back, it fits back together. And in theory, they fire up in harmony, but the crucial part to all of this is being as meticulous as possible at every stage, because as far as I'm concerned, that's how we make sure that things go right first time.
Well, all of this could have been avoided because the car had done 100,000 miles in the first 5 years of its life. Company vehicle driven by a director up and down the country on the motorway with the cruise control set. Happy days. Probably Phil Collins blasting through the stereo.
Oh, definitely.
They sell it to who they suspect is a drug dealer in the early 2000s.
Oh, lovely.
Who then rags about in the car, chavs it up with black grills and black wheels, still drives it, and clearly the car stops working because then it gets sold on to someone else who's then kept it stored somewhere outside for 10 years while all this sort of shit happens. And I've got a feeling all of this head gasket material, all these kind of leaks, cooling, oil, must have happened in the late 2010s. Baden, thank you again.
You're more than welcome.
I look forward to hearing the updates, and I'll keep you guys posted for as soon as I have any updates, naturally. But thanks for keeping in touch and watching these videos, and subscribe to see the rest, all the other stuff that we put out. But we'll see you on the next one.